Hi, good morning. My name is Ron. I'm your speaking examiner. Can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Roshana Oliva. You can call me Roshan.
Okay, can you speak louder?
Of course.
Roshana Oliva, right?
Yes.
How can I call you?
Roshan.
Alright, Roshana. Roshana, you're welcome to IELTS Speaking Examination, and this test is going to have 3 parts, and now I'd like to get started with part 1. And in this part 1, I'm going to ask you some questions about your everyday life. Is that clear?
Yes.
Very nice. Let's first of all talk about your hometown. Can you tell me about your hometown?
Well, if I'll talk about, I'm sorry. If I'll talk about it, I'm from the small city which is called Giza, and it is like 3 hour away, 3 hour drive away from the capital, and it's not that popular, and it's not that crowded, but I think it has some facilities that large cities can offer.
All right. What kind of things do you do on a typical day?
Well, on my daily basis, I just lock myself away from everything in my room and just do my homework and some practice stuff. And usually I just try to read uninterrupted because it really helps me to be more productive and to improve my knowledge.
Very nice. What form of transportation do you usually use?
Well, most of the time I opt for taxis. They are more comfortable, and despite the fact that they are kind of expensive, I can feel very comfortable while I'm using them.
Nice. What kind of things do you enjoy doing with your friends?
Well, when it comes to hanging out with my friends, I just like having kind of conversation is really great because talking with them really cheers me up, and whenever I do that, it really boosts my confidence, and it really helps me feel very, like, let's say, emotional, or I don't even know.
Alive, maybe, right?
Yeah.
What did you do last weekend?
Last weekend, I binge watched the series like Wednesday that is very popular. I was like scrolling on the net and saw that it was very popular and decided to watch it.
Nice. What are your plans for after this test?
Well, I'm planning to go home and have a rest because the day was very difficult and I kinda was drained.
Wow, nice. Thank you so much. That was the IELTS Speaking part 1. Now I'd like to move on to part 2. And in this part 2, I'll give you a cue card with a topic on it. And in this part of the test, we're going to talk about a topic for about 2 minutes. Here's a card with some questions on it. You have about 1 minute to prepare, and you can make notes if you wish. And in this part, I'd like you to describe something you have bought recently. You should say what you bought, what it looks like, why you bought it, and say whether you're pleased with your purchase. Okay? So this is your cue card. Just a moment. This is your cue card, and this is your paper and pencil, and you have 1 minute to prepare. May please start taking notes. All right, Roshana, your time is up. Can you please start speaking now?
Of course. Well, I would like to talk about the book that I bought recently, and I honestly bought it because of the cover. It was very appealing, and when I look at it, I felt as if it was very beautiful, and I felt as if it was very informative. So it's kind of small book, but really looks like a novel. And when I just flick through the pages of the book, I liked some quotes, and they were so beautifully written. And I bought it because it was very, let's say, beautifully written, and I bought it to acquire some religion knowledge because it was a religious book. And I think I'm very glad that I have bought it because it was more than self-provoking, despite the fact that it's light reading. I read it just in one sitting. Like, I read it whole night, and in the morning I felt like a zombie. But anyways, the book itself was really great, and I think I did very great because sometimes I think buying something because of its cover is not that good choice, especially when it comes to online buying. They just do some, let's say, editing stuff. So anyways, like, flicking through every page of it, I understood that I did a very great job.
Oh, very nice. Did you recommend this book to your friends or family?
Of course I did, because it was more than informative, and I want my friends to learn something from it.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you so much. That was IELTS Speaking Part 2, and now we're going to start Part 3. And in this Part 3, I will ask you some more discussion questions about the topic we've been talking about in Part 2. All right? So we're going to talk about making purchases. If you could buy any new gadget you wanted, what would you choose and why?
Well, I would opt for new laptop because it is something that I really need these days for my, let's say, preparation stuff and for my schoolwork. And especially when it comes to doing my homework, it's really let's say exhausting to write everything by hand when you can type everything easily.
Yeah. Do you think people today spend too much money on buying new things?
Unfortunately, yes, because you can face a lot of teenagers buying unnecessary stuff that they don't need just to show their social status. Let's say, for example, my friend recently bought an iPhone 14 Pro Max that is state of the art, but they don't even know what to use this for, so I think they do it without any purpose.
Yeah. Why do you think older people struggle so much with new technology?
Well, I think it's because of the generation stuff. There is this gap, and they used to use phones that are old-fashioned, and they don't understand any function of the new technology, and they already are tired and they don't understand how to use those functions.
Okay. And are there any ways we could help them to adapt?
Of course, we can just spend some time with them, sitting and teaching, because I did try that stuff myself. Recently I visited my grandfather. He bought new phone. He couldn't use anything, but spending an hour, despite the fact that it was time consuming, I helped him and he learned a lot.
Yeah. Do you always want to buy the latest technology, or are you happy with an older model?
Well, it really depends on what kind of technology it is, I think, because when it comes to mobile phones, I think the old versions of Samsung are very good, and I think I really like them. But when it comes to laptops, I think it's better to choose those that are more modern because they have new functions and new stuff in them.
Okay. What changes in technology do you think we'll see in the next 50 years?
I think technology, there will be revolution maybe, because you can see a lot of artificial intelligence everywhere, and wherever you look, this let's say, cafes or restaurants. Instead of people, sometimes in the developed countries you can see robots that are selling and doing things that people used to do. So in my opinion, that will be a gradual increase, like, and development.
Okay. So, do you think we should always try to improve on existing technology, or are some things better as they are?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, sure. Do you think we should always try to improve on existing technology, or are some things better as they are?
Well, I think it really depends on the technology. Like, some things are really good the way they are, just like depending on the company. For example, Samsung, I think it's very good despite despite some problems. But when it comes to other companies, I think they don't need to change everything, changing different like functions, because it will be very hard for us to learn them, and it can take some time to use those technologies.
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you so much. That wasn't about speaking examination. I wish you good luck on the main portion of the exam.